It started on a bright Saturday morning. Emily Turner had just moved into her new house, a quiet place on Maple Street. The kind of neighborhood where the grass was always neatly trimmed, and everyone waved but didn't really talk. That morning, while unpacking boxes in her small front yard, she saw him, her new neighbor. He was out jogging, wearing a faded grey t-shirt and a cap turned backward. His steps were light, his posture strong. He looked like someone in his 30s. But when he stopped to catch his breath and waved at her, she realized he wasn't young at all. "Good morning," he called out cheerfully. "You must be new here." Emily smiled back. "Just moved in yesterday." He crossed over to her driveway, his energy radiating with every step. "Name's Jack Miller. Been here for 15 years. Emily nodded, a little surprised by how friendly he was. "I'm Emily. Nice to meet you." Jack's smile deepened, the corners of his eyes crinkling. "Need help with those boxes?" Before she could say no, he had already picked one up effortlessly. Emily laughed softly. "You really don't have to." "Too late," he said, carrying it inside like it weighed nothing. Inside, as he set the box down, Emily caught a glimpse of his face under the morning light. There were faint lines around his mouth, a few grey streaks in his hair, but his eyes were sharp, alive. "How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?" she blurted before realizing how forward it sounded. Jack chuckled. 55. Emily blinked. "You're kidding." "Nope. I like to stay active. Keeps the heart young." That day, Jack helped her move in, refusing to take a break. By evening, Emily felt exhausted, while Jack still had enough energy to mow his lawn. She watched him from her window, amused. There was something different about him. Not just his strength, but the calm confidence he carried. Over the next few weeks, Emily settled into her new routine. She worked from home, usually staring at her laptop all day. But every morning, like clockwork, Jack would jog past her window. Rain or shine, always with that same energy. Sometimes he waved. Sometimes he stopped to hand her coffee. "Fuel for the day," he'd say with a grin. Emily couldn't explain it, but his presence brought something warm into her life. One morning, while watering her flowers, she noticed Jack working on his porch. He was building something, wood panels, nails, and a tape measure beside him. Curious, she walked over. "What are you making?" He looked up, brushing sawdust off his arm. "A birdhouse. My late wife loved them." The softness in his tone made Emily's heart tighten. "I'm sorry," she said gently. Jack smiled faintly. "It's been years, but building these keeps me close to her somehow." Emily didn't know what to say. There was so much emotion hidden behind his steady smile. Over time, they began spending more time together. She'd bring lemonade when he worked outside. He'd help her fix things around the house. Their friendship felt easy, natural. One evening, after a sudden rainstorm, the power went out. Emily stood in the dark, fumbling for candles, when she heard a knock on her door. It was Jack, holding a flashlight. "You okay in there?" She smiled. "Just trying not to trip." He chuckled and handed her the flashlight. "Come over to my place. I've got backup lights and coffee." His living room was warm, lit by soft lantern light. There were framed photos everywhere, Jack with his wife, a younger man laughing beside a lake. Emily noticed one picture of Jack and a teenage boy. "Your son?" she asked. Jack nodded. "Daniel. He's 27 now. Lives in Seattle." They sat and talked for hours about life, change, and the strange way time moves faster after 50. Emily shared her story too, her recent divorce, her move to start fresh. At one point, Jack looked at her quietly and said, "You're stronger than you think." "Emily, Starting over takes courage. Something in his voice stayed with her long after she went home that night. As days passed, Emily realized she looked forward to seeing him. His laughter, his calm advice, the way he treated life as something to be enjoyed, not endured. Then, one late afternoon, she saw him sitting on his porch, looking pale. His usual energy was gone. She rushed over. "Jack, are you okay?" He smiled weakly. "Just tired. Maybe pushed myself too hard this morning." But something about his tone felt off. His hands trembled slightly as he set down his water glass. "Jack," she said softly, "you don't look well." He waved her off. "It's nothing, Emily. Just a little dizzy spell." Still, the worry wouldn't leave her. That night, as rain began to fall, Emily lay awake, listening to the thunder roll in the distance and wondering if her strong, energetic neighbor was really as fine as he claimed to be. The next morning, Emily hurried outside, hoping to see Jack on his usual jog. But the street was empty. No rhythmic footsteps, no cheerful wave from across the yard. Her heart tightened. She hesitated for a moment, then walked to his porch. The curtains were still drawn, and his mailbox was overflowing with letters. That wasn't like him. She knocked lightly. "Jack, you okay?" No answer. After a few more knocks, she turned to leave, but then heard the faint creak of the door. Jack stood there, pale but smiling. "Morning, Emily," he said softly. "Didn't mean to worry you." She frowned. "You look awful." He laughed quietly. "Thanks for the compliment. Seriously, Jack, what's going on?" He sighed, leaning against the doorframe. "Doctor says I've got high blood pressure. Nothing serious if I take it easy. But slowing down isn't exactly my thing." Emily's concern deepened. "Then maybe it should be for a while." He smiled, that same calm, unbothered smile that always made her heart ache a little. "You sound like my son." "I'll take that as a compliment," she replied. For the next few days, Emily made it her mission to look after him. She brought soup, checked on him after work, and made sure he didn't overdo anything. Jack, at first, protested, but deep down, she knew he appreciated it. One evening, they sat together on his porch watching the sunset melt into orange and gold. "You know," Jack said quietly, "when you first moved in, I thought you'd be like everyone else, polite, distant. But you surprised me." "How so?" Emily asked. "You notice things most people don't. You notice when someone's tired, when they're hiding something." Emily smiled faintly. "Maybe that's because I've been there." The silence between them was warm, gentle. Over time, their bond grew stronger. Emily began joining him for evening walks, though they were slower now. Jack had learned to pace himself. He told her stories from his youth, his wild road trips, his failed business, how he met his wife at a small-town fair. Emily listened, drawn into his world. One night, as they reached the corner of Maple Street, Jack stopped and looked at the stars. "Funny thing about getting older," he said. "You start counting memories instead of years." Emily glanced at him, his face calm under the streetlight. "And do you regret any of them?" He shook his head. "No, even the painful ones taught me something." A soft breeze passed between them, carrying the faint scent of lilacs from the garden. Emily didn't say anything, but she felt something stir inside her, a quiet admiration that had slowly turned into something deeper. Still, she didn't want to cross that line. He was 55, she was 36, and both had scars that hadn't fully healed. Then one morning she found a small wooden box on her porch. Inside was a birdhouse delicately painted, the word carved into its base. There was a note attached. "For your garden, because every new beginning deserves a home." It was signed, Her eyes watered as she set the birdhouse on her WINDOWSILL. Later that day, she crossed the street to thank him, but his porch was empty. The curtains were drawn again. Hours passed. Evening came. The streetlights flickered on. Still no sign of him. Worried, she called his phone. No answer. Finally, she drove to the nearby clinic. Something told her that's where he'd gone. When she entered the waiting area, she spotted him sitting quietly, a tired but peaceful look on his face. "Jack," she breathed, walking up to him. "You scared me." He smiled weakly. "Routine checkup. Nothing to worry about." But when she sat beside him, she noticed the band on his wrist, the fatigue in his eyes. "Jack," she said softly, "you don't have to pretend. You can tell me what's really going on." He hesitated, then whispered, "They're running more tests." "Just to be sure." Emily reached for his hand without thinking. "Then I'm staying with you." He looked at her, eyes glistening. "You don't have to." "I know," she said, "but I want to." They sat there in silence, surrounded by the faint hum of the clinic lights. Weeks passed and Jack began to recover. His energy slowly returned, though he moved a bit more carefully now. Emily was there through it all, checking his meals, reminding him to rest, teasing him when he tried to sneak out for a jog. One evening he showed up at her door holding 2 mugs of tea. For the nurse who never asked to be one. She laughed. "You've been a terrible patient, you know." "I've been worse," he admitted. Then he looked at her quietly. "Emily, I never thought I'd find someone to care again. After my wife passed, I shut that door. That you..." Her heart thudded in her chest. "Jack," he shook his head gently, "you don't have to say anything. Just thank you for reminding me that life still has room for joy." They stood there, the world quiet around them, the porch light glowing softly above. For a moment neither spoke. Then Emily whispered, "You didn't just remind yourself. Jack, you reminded me too." He smiled, a smile filled with warmth and gratitude. From that day, they continued walking together. 2 people from different chapters of life, sharing the same page. Their bond never needed definition. It was simple, pure, and deeply human. And every morning, when Jack jogged past her window again, slower now, but still steady, Emily would smile. Because some energy didn't come from the body. It came from the heart.